Many of us SEOs, blog owners, SEO agencies have experienced this, but is there any way we can recover our traffic? Some people reportedly have their traffic recovered without doing anything after a couple of weeks or months, and some sites just flat out die even when they have done so many adjustments as though it is rolled over by a road roller. So in this video, we will go over some of the things to look out for if your site is ever hit by an update and in what situations you should do something about it. And if you're still with us to the end, we will share with you the biggest mistake you should avoid during this period of uncertainty and the things you can do to prepare for future algorithm updates. Let's go. Hey, it's Jack from RankMath, the one WordPress SEO plugin that constantly strives to provide you with the fastest and the most cutting-edge SEO tools, and on this channel, we'll provide you with the most up-to-date SEO knowledge. So if you're new to our channel, consider subscribing. Anyway, before we get into the details, this is a huge disclaimer. Despite every effort you put into saving your website, there is a chance of it never recovering, but what we're going to share in this video will increase the chance of recovery. So buckle up. Now, before going into panic mode and doing something that we will regret later, calm down. Because panicking leads to overreacting, which then leads to making rash decisions, which most of the time leads to regret. That's Life 101. It applies to everything in life. Relationships, business, stock market, and everything. I digress. Now, it is important to note that every Google algorithm update is different. Sometimes they will give you a heads up on what's going on with the updates. They will tell you what region, language, or website category will be affected most, and they will provide you with some guidance, like the helpful content updates, which we have covered right here. Other times, there are broad core updates, which means there is no specific item in the agenda, and its goal is to generally help Google get better at assessing content and ranking them appropriately. So if it is the first type of updates, it is easier for us to mitigate and probably avoid what is going to happen. But when it comes to a broad core update, that's what sends us into panic mode, and that's what our focus is in this video. So what's going to happen if your site ever gets hit by the update? Follow me. Let's check if your site actually got hit by the update. Now, you could go into your Google Analytics and Search Console to figure out the impact of the update and search for details about the update manually. Or another easier method, if you are a RankMath Pro user and you have connected your site to Google services, go to your Analytics module and under SEO Performance, check this out. Select the data you want on the graph, and on the timeline, here are all the confirmed and unconfirmed Google algorithm updates. Pairing this update timeline with your site's data, and you will know if your site is impacted by the update. You will get a snippet of what each update is about, and if you want to know more about the updates, don't worry about going anywhere else because we have consolidated all the information of the Google updates for you. Any official statement made by Google, what this update is about, comments throughout the SEO community, insights and general trends as a result of the update, and many other information. Actually, we have a dedicated page that tracks all the past and present Google updates, which is this page. So once you have identified yourself as a victim to the Google updates, follow me again. Let's go to the next step. Now, if your site is 30 to 70% down, you may want to figure out what type of content is affected. On the SEO performance from the Analytics module, scroll down and you will have a full list of your content. Take note of these graphs here that are trending downwards. Now, before that, let's change the time frame of the data. Maybe 7 days or 15 days. What we want is the time frame where your site was affected, but as short as possible. Now scroll down and take note of those articles that were affected by the Google update. Technically, those that are trending downwards. You'll want to jot them down. Alternatively, if you are using Google Analytics, you want to go to Reports, Engagement, Pages and Screens, and at the top right corner, expand the time frame and activate the Compare option. Select the period for comparison, apply it, And now you can see each of those articles in comparison to its preceding performance data. Jot down those that are trending downwards by a lot. At this point, you should be able to see whether the update has an effect on a handful of previously high-ranked posts. I will show you a method to optimize those posts so that it can be in favor of Google again. What you want to do next after identifying those downward trending posts is to try to group them up by reviews, roundups, by informational, by editorial, by guest posts, or any content type that you feel is relevant. And then assess which is the group that is affected the most. If it is the review articles that got hit the most, you want to figure out if the ratio of review articles to informational posts is too high. Generally, you want to have equal or more informational posts than review articles. And you want to assess the quality of your review articles to see if the content is written by someone who's genuinely used the product, or if it is someone who tried to scrape information from the internet to put together a review. If you want one writing those reviews, you know it yourself. By review articles, we mean product A review, product A versus product B, best product for X, etc. And informational posts are posts that are helpful to your readers as it gives high quality insights, information, and knowledge to your site visitors. If most of the guest posts are affected, it is time to assess the content quality of your guests and whether or not your guests are credible enough to talk about the topics at hand. Now, if your top ranking articles have lost favor with Google, here's what you can do. In the SEO Performance tab again, search for the top ranking post that got hit, click on it, scroll down further, and you will see a bunch of key phrases that this article has ranked for. You want to go through your article again to see if the information on the page is up to date. And does it satisfy the search intent of these key phrases here? Basically, you want to provide the most up-to-date, the most accurate, and the most helpful content that satisfy the search intent of the key phrases it is ranking for. But before you start doing any adjustments to your content, there's one more step, which is to evaluate your competitors. The thing is, if your site loses traffic, it doesn't mean that fewer people are searching for a key phrase. It only means that the traffic is going somewhere else, to another site that is ranking at the top after the update. So since you already know what key phrases your top ranked articles were ranking for, search for those key phrases on Google, but not on the browser you're signed into a Google account. If you have always used Google Chrome, use Firefox and do the search incognito. This will give you the most accurate results. Then you want to visit and read those top ranking articles to determine if there is anything distinctly different about their approach. But take note, keep an open mind and be analytical. Do not let your ego get in the way. It is easy to say that your content is better than the others, but that won't get you anywhere. Through this step, if you're honest with yourself, you should be able to form an understanding of why Google deems your content less worthy than the ones that are currently ranked. Having all this information, you can start to recraft your content and beat your competitors. If all the above doesn't work, meaning your entire site is affected, or the articles on your site lose their ranking or become delisted from Google, and your traffic tank about 80 to 90%, this could be an indication that the quality of your site is not good in the eyes of Google. It could mean you need to work on the E.A.T, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And before you do anything drastic, like abandoning ship, first, you want to identify if there is a Google penalty. Go to your Google Search Console and look at the security and manual actions. If there is something flagged here, you need to fix it to get back into the game. In such a case, you are not hit by a Google update. You are hit by a penalty. Now, what if you see no manual actions and security issues? That means you are hit by an update, and here's what you can do. Let me put this in a checklist for you. If you have previously outsourced your content or you have relied on an AI writer, but you haven't put much effort into overseeing the quality of your content, it is time to do so. Visit and deep dive into each of those contents, and if those contents are really garbage and they're not fetching any traffic anyway, you can verify it with RankMath's Analytics module or Google Analytics. Feel free to remove them completely using our redirections module. Add a new redirection, select the 410 content deleted option, place the URL of the article you wish to delete, and create that redirection to tell Google this article has been deleted from your site. At the same time, if you visit your post list and on the article you have deleted, you see there are other articles on your site that are linking to this page. You want to remove those links to prevent 404s. Currently, we can't click on this to identify the incoming links, but let us know if this feature is going to be helpful to you in the comments, and we may add it based on your response. What we can do now is to go to our search console, go to links, expand the internal links, search for the page you have deleted, click on it, and you will know what pages on your site are linked to this page. Visit those pages and remove the links. But if you don't wish to delete the content, then the alternative is to upgrade the content. But honestly, you've got to assess if you have the time to upgrade all the content. If there is an enormous amount of garbage content, it will probably take months if not years to upgrade all of them. In our opinion, it would be more ideal if you delete them and rewrite them as a new piece of content. Now, the next thing you can do is to check your backlinks. There are different types of backlinks, those that you can control, those that you have bought, and those that you have earned organically. Let's look into each of them. Backlinks that you can control are those, for example, you have a LinkedIn account and you have added your site to your profile. Those kind of backlinks are fine because LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, or Pinterest are credible sites. But for forum sites like Reddit or Quora, do not try to add comments and optimize it with a link. For example, I'll leave a comment like this. Hey, this post is great. Jack Chow, Rank Math is the best WordPress SEO plugin, and you put that link on there. It is very enticing to do that because you get backlinks easily and for free. But this is against Google guidelines, as you can see right here. Next are the backlinks that you have bought. Now honestly, most of the time you can ignore spammy links to your site and you don't even need to disavow them because Google mostly ignores them. But that's unless you have purchased backlinks, like for example $5 for 1,000 links. And if that's the case, you need to do backlink audits for your site and disavow those links. You can use a tool like Ubersuggest and audit your domain. What this will do is it will produce a list of top 100 backlinks, but our focus is on follow links only. So we want to click on that and we want to sort them by the spam score. As you can see, those with spam scores of 30% and above, you want to be wary of them. If you have gone through their content and you really think they are spammy, for example, links from a page that is poorly written or from a page that looks like it was generated by an AI, comment links or PBN links, you want to disavow them. Note, this is just for your reference. How to disavow links? Visit this page, link in the description, and follow the steps. Basically, you need to create a .txt file in this format and add all the links to disavow in the file. And then click on this link, select the property, and upload your .txt file. Remember, only backlinks with low spam scores or links that are hard to get are worthy SEO juices. Links that are easy to get, you need to be wary of them. And links that you have paid for are just like apples. Rotten apples. The next question is, how to Google know if you have bought links? Good question. Some people have answered this question already, and the best answer is probably this. You buy a link from site A, millions of others buy from site A looks pretty unnatural, you look pretty unnatural. Again, this is expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And depending on the niche you're in, there may be a requirement for you to expose the identity of the author. For example, in the medical field, obviously you want to know that the author of the article is a medical professional. The same is true when you are taking financial advice from a blog post. You want to know if the piece of content is credible, and the only way for Google to know if the content is credible is if the author of the page has credible social profiles, he has written content on other sites that demonstrates expertise in the field. So to improve your E.A.T, if you have multiple authors, you want to have an author bio on every post, and for the author profiles on your site, you want to link it to their social profiles. And if the author have sites of their own, link to those sites as well. And if you are the only author of your site, the best way to get exposure and gain street cred is to start either a YouTube channel or a podcast or both. Share your expertise on those channels. If you have opportunities for guest interviews and collaborations, do it, because Google does not only assess you based on written content, they assess you based on everything that you do on the internet. If you're only relying on your blog to gain authoritativeness and trustworthiness, it would take ages. So as you can see, recovering from a Google algorithm update takes a lot of effort, and it will take some time before you see the results. And if you have gone through all the checks above and you really think that there is no reason for your site to get punished, then the only reason to explain the huge dip in traffic is that Google is testing out their new algorithm to get response from its users. Sometimes they will fix themselves when they realize your content is the best out there. In such a case, you will usually see your traffic coming back to the norm. We hope all these make sense to you, and if it does, can you do us a little favor and smash that thumbs up button? It really means a lot to us. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake to avoid when your site is hit by an update. As we have said, panic causes regrets. I was one of the victims. You start doing a bunch of research and listening to gurus' advice that links should be shorter, you should group your content to a category that makes the most sense to have better topical relevance, you should delete those category pages that doesn't make sense, you should change your URL structure to include the category in it, and all those SEO advices would get your site in more trouble. The worst thing you can do when your site is hit by a Google update is to change your site's URL or URL structure. Let me emphasize this again so it sinks in. Any changes to your internal linking structure may have further negative impacts on your site. Maybe your site was meant to recover without needing any action, but because of what you did, it sealed the deal and your site is now dead. Anyway, let's now talk about how to prepare your website and your business for future algorithm updates. Now, this is not directly related to recovering from Google algorithm updates, but we honestly consider it as an essential part of every business. First, you should diversify your traffic. If your entire business is based on one traffic source, it poses a huge risk. If your site is hit by a Google update, it's the end of story for your business, and that's not what we want. We want our business to thrive even in uncertain times, and the way to do it is to build an email list. When somebody lands on your website, you want to entice them to sign up, for example, your newsletter. If your site talks about web design, how about creating an email sign up that says, get free new web design templates every week, or something of that nature. The second thing is to start a YouTube channel, as we have mentioned earlier. Not only does it build your authoritativeness and trustworthiness, it helps you get brand awareness and recognition. You are giving people a reason to constantly consume your content, and they'll be more enticed to sign up to your email list because they know who you are. Growing an audience on Twitter, starting a podcast or a Facebook community for your brand works as well. So with all these traffic channels working together, will you still be afraid of future Google updates? If your organic traffic from your site is down, can you use email marketing, YouTube, podcasts, or whatnot to send traffic to your blog when there is a new piece of content? Of course, and you have a huge chance of recovering from the update because you have demonstrated it. Maybe you just need to work on improving your content and be wary of manipulative links, and that's it. Anyway, we hope that with this video, you'll be able to find solace with what you are dealing with, and we sincerely hope that your site will recover. If your site is not punished, we hope that you have learned something out of it. You can expect high quality SEO knowledge and information from us when you subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to smash that thumbs up button if you haven't already done so. This is Jack from Rank Math. Stay awesome, keep your heads up, and move forward. I'll see you in the next video.